with that said, let's get into our first game with a backup quarterback. Bears 5-8. Thank you for making me and Dev some money. Against the Cleveland Browns 8-5. The Bears still randomly have a shot at making the playoffs. I think they're only a game back of making the playoffs. But the Browns 8-5, favoring this game by 3. Joe Flacco. Joey Flacco has balled the last 2 weeks. Kudos to whoever put some money on him or had him in a fantasy league and picked him up, because he's been balling right now like he was balling with the Baltimore Ravens. Not that high, but pretty freaking high.
Do you know that the Browns offense put up more than 300 yards for the first time, passing for the first time ever all season with Joe Flacco? 311 passing yards.
And which is why I'm going with the Browns.
Yeah.
And I'm going with the points. Even though this Bears team,
I don't know, you disrespecting these Bears.
Right. I'm looking at it, man, and man, I tell you what, they have been unbelievable as far as, how they're running this offense and how they're allowing, everybody to eat in that offense also, bro. I like them, man. I do like them, but I just don't know if they could deal with them being in Browns country and playing, the Browns playing at home, their defensive line, their defense period, the way they're playing. Justin Fields, he's been playing at a high level, considering the fact that, we just left the Bears for dead, and Fields has brought them up out of the cellar.
But here's one of the problems. You talk about the Browns are hurt. Both of their tackles are in the IR now.
Yep.
Right? So their starting tackles, IR. Their starting defensive tackle, Maurice Hurts, IR. So they're extremely hurt facing a Bears team that all of a sudden has life. Yeah. All of a sudden saying to themselves, well, we might be able to make the playoffs if we go on a little run here. And Montez Sweat has made a big difference with that Bears team and that defense coming in. So that's going to be a tough one. What do you think, Dev?
It's a really tough one to call in terms of a side here. I love the Bears story. Like, you guys know from the start of the season, I've wanted the Bears to succeed. I do like Justin Fields. I think he's an extremely fun player to watch. And the Bears won me some money last week. So I'm going to spice things up, and I'm going to take the Bears covering that 3-point spread. Might even take Bears money line here if you want more value on that one, just because of the injuries. And also, and we can get into this more when we talk about the Giants and Saints. It seems like it's a trend, right, this season, because there are so many backup quarterbacks coming in, where the backup quarterback comes in and, wins a game that a lot of people don't expect them to. And everyone's like, oh my God, Joe Flacco, amazing, throws for over 300 yards. And Tommy DeVito is the guy.
Tommy two
and
times.
Then it just happens that they're not actually that good, and it was kind of a one-off for a few good games.
Minnesota.
And then they kind of, the Josh Dobbs trajectory. Yeah. So Joe Flacco, I'm not saying Joe Flacco is Tommy DeVito.
That's experience, though. It's experience, though.
He is experienced, but I think with the injuries and with the way that the Bears secondary is playing right now, like, they held Jared Goff to 161 yards, mid-50s rating. They intercepted him twice. I just think that they're on a roll right now. And it's also been 4 games in a row where the Browns' rush attack hasn't really made a dent. That's been a strong
And you see, I didn't say anything about that either. I haven't said anything about them running the ball, so I left that alone.
Yeah, I mean, they've lost me a few bets now, a few weeks in a row, because I'm sick of hitting those Kareem Hunt and Jerome Ford props. So I'm going to take the Bears in this one, guys.
Well, would you go with Njoku? Him going with anytime touchdown, because he balled out 2 touchdowns this last game.
Yeah, 91 yards.
Yep. So I'm gonna go with the over in passing yardage, 40.5, and then I'm also going to hit Amari Cooper 54.5. Quarterback play is definitely better right now as far as putting the ball in the air.
Yeah, he was. Amari Cooper was also Joe Flacco's most targeted last week, even though Njoku got the 2 touchdowns.
Yeah, DJ Moore. Like, I'm going to all. DJ Moore has been balling with everything he's done with Justin Fields. When Justin Fields is healthy, I'm going with the alternative receiving, because I like to do the alternative with him at least doing 50+. I also like Justin Fields' alternative to go run for over 50. Right, I believe he ran for 60-something last week. He ran for 58 last week.
58, yeah.
So I like for him to go over 50. That Browns defense is unbelievable, strangling cats. So I think he's going to have to run. He's going to have to get out of the pocket and create some things himself, so to play some backyard football at times.
Yep.
And, he's one of the really good ones in the NFL at playing some backyard football. So Do y'all think the Bears have a chance to make the playoffs? I mean, we'll get into it more later. No?
Oh, I do. I think if they keep playing the way that they have been playing. Also, one more prop. Sorry, Cole Kmet has been one of my favorite props the last few weeks. I like his
tight ends, baby.
His alternative. Yeah, his alternative. I love how excited Barrett gets over tight ends because every time it's like a pause moment. He's like, I love those tight ends. Cole Kmet, his alternative, like over 50 or even over 60. He had 66 yards last week, and Cleveland's defense is great, but their pass defense allowed 3 touchdowns to Trevor Lawrence last week and picked him off twice, but still allowed quite a few yards and touchdowns to the Jags. So Justin Fields could get the ball in the air more than run it. Sorry, didn't mean to distract.
No. Love it. I mean, again, I like that. That's a good Bears. I have again money line. I think the Bears. I'm gonna ride the Bears for a couple games for the rest of this season. They have a chance. Again, they're only they don't have any of the tiebreakers, so I don't know how the tiebreakers will go for the rest of the season. But again, they're 5-8, only a game back of the 7th spot.
Yep.
In the standings right now, and the 7th spot is 6-7, and the Packers have it.
Well, and they Packers just. I don't know what they're doing, man. But, you know, at the end of the day, the Bears have a legitimate shot, but I just don't trust the Bears. You know what I'm saying?
I
just don't trust the Bears.
I get it. But, again, when Justin Fields has been healthy for this team, they've been all right. All right. Once again, welcome back to the Sunday Spread, Week 15, mowing through it, giving you some of the best bets of the best bets. Devan Kaney, Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks. Let's keep rolling along. Next game, Buccaneers-Packers. 2 teams that are 6-7. 2 teams fighting for a playoff spot. The Packers currently hold down the 7th spot in the playoff race. The Buccaneers on top of their division, but no one's really on top of that division. They're just holding it for a second. Both 6-7. Like I said, it's in Lambeau. Packers favored 3.5 in this game. Over under 41.5. Green Bay -175. Tampa +145. When you're talking about the money line, Dev, how do you see this game playing out?
Even though the Packers are coming off a loss to the Giants, I think that this is a get-right game for them. I mean, they've been playing some of their best football second half of the season. They beat the Chiefs. Like, I think that they can beat this Bucs team that is kind of up and down, but hasn't been great on the road, and you never know which version of a Baker Mayfield you're going to get.
Yeah.
But especially if Aaron Jones returns to the Packers offense, even though they will be missing Christian Watson, I think that they will win and cover that 3.5 point spread.
Are we back on Aaron Jones? He lost me a lot of money early in the season.
Well, earlier in the season, he just didn't exist. Like he literally, they just weren't using him.
He came back from injury and was just like,
yeah,
what's going on, dog?
Right. So, which is why I'm gonna leave the Packers alone. You know, because of that. You know, but you know, I think it's safe money going with Bucks and Mike Evans. You know, 70.5 receiving yards. And Rachaad White, you got to keep on going with him, you know, his receiving yards. They're using him more and more in so many different ways that I think it's safe to go with his rushing yards and also his receiving yards, 19.5. I don't think he'll get that with 1 or 2 draw plays. They like to feature him. And, you know, especially the way this Packers defense is going, they don't hold well with running backs out of the backfield and tight ends. So, I mean, I think that's a safe bet, you know, going against that defense.
Would you go 79.5? Is that too rich for your blood, or would you go with White?
I would still go with White. Yes.
Okay.
I mean, he's become their utility guy. The offense runs through him. So 79.5. You know that sounds like a lot, but when you're talking about that defense of the Packers, that's the reason why they're losing right now. Their defense.
Yeah. I mean, I like Rachaad White too. I go safe, so I always do alternatives. So I'll go 75 plus instead of the 79.5. See, I've got burnt by 1 yard or 2 yards too many times where I always find the bet where the yardage is a little further back. Like 79.5, that's the week he's going to get 78. Like, so that's why I'm like, let me go with 75, the alt, and see if that helps me out. I don't know about y'all, but I feel like even in my NBA betting, it's been like, I'm 1 bucket away.
Yeah.
Right.
That's always how it is.
And I was furious just the other day. I'll give you the NBA example. Joel Embiid had 30 in the first half. His over-under was 40.5. He had 39, and I was able to get it, but I was only able to get it because they put him back in the game just to get 40. Because they took him out and it was over. I said, oh, my goodness. I'm not going to win this bet that I thought was obvious.
But it's obvious they're doing that for him to win.
But it's just like, How do they know? How does Vegas know?
Want to know what I had in last Sunday? Just a little mini touchdown parlay for the, oh my God, I'm having a brain freeze, Chiefs and Bills game. And it was Kadarius Toney, anytime touchdown. And who else? Someone, James Cook. So James Cook got the touchdown at the end of the game. We all know what happened. I was like, and even though it was just 2 touchdowns, like anytime touchdown parlays are like big odds. So I would have won a bit of money.
See, in the next
I was like Patrick Mahomes. I was like, oh, come on, this is the worst call I've ever seen.
And again, the Kansas City Chiefs are coming up in the next segment, so we'll talk about that. But man, oh man.
Yeah.
The joy that you must have had.
Yep.
Followed by the despair.
It was kind of comforted by the fact that like the Chiefs lost, and I kind of love to see that always. So, and Patrick Mahomes. Patrick Mahomes was so shook about it.
We're gonna talk about that, but that's not very Swifty of you.
I don't care.
You're a Swifty. That's not very Swifty of you. Let's go to the next games. Texans, Titans, frisky. Gotta win last week.
I can't believe that they won. Yeah. I cannot believe that. I remember sitting down watching that game and seeing. I think the Titans had just scored the first of their 2 comeback touchdowns at the end. And I was like, "There's no way they're gonna."
Yeah, what is it? 27-14 at the time, or something
I think
like
so.
Yeah. I lost both doubleheader Monday night games. I lost both of them.
I actually don't even think I bet on the
Giants beat Green Bay. Like, were you kidding me? I just did a parlay of like. Simple money. Green Bay wins and who the Titans win.
Titans win.
Not Titan wins. I put Green Bay and Dolphins.
Okay.
That seems like a simple, easy bet, right? Like I'll win a couple dollars off of that, and then.
Well, people are losing faith in the Titans, and their young quarterback, they're getting towards the end, and I'm not going. I mean, even though they have a rookie quarterback also playing. I think I feel more comfortable with the Texans and what they have going on more so than the Titans, man. I got more confidence in them going with the money line also. There's no way that the Texans win this game. I mean, the Titans beat the Texans in this game.
Yeah,
I just don't. I think they got their game. They got their last hurrah as far as wins this year.
And again, Titans favored in this game, which I
know.
That's
what I'm saying.
Well, favored in this game, by the way, over under is 38.
Because the Texans are injured, or potentially very injured, because we don't. CJ Stroud might be in concussion protocol.
I thought he.
I don't think he cleared it yet. I don't believe he cleared it yet.
I
could be wrong about that, but
he practiced though.
He was being looked at for concussion. Lost Tank Dell already for the season.
Yeah. Yep.
Nico Collins, his other top receiver behind Tank Dell, has a calf injury. Mm-hmm. So, those are starting to add up. And the Titans are probably fired up coming off their win over the Dolphins. Look, I'm still probably going to take the Titans in this game. I'm just saying it's not out of the question that the Titans could win or upset.
Oh, so you're still going to take the Texans in this game?
Oh, wait, the Titans are favorite. I was going to say upset the Texans.
Yeah.
I'm going to take the Titans -3.
I'm still going with
just
the Texans.
Because of the injuries.
Yeah, and then Stroud hasn't been at practice so far. I still think he clears concussion protocol and plays by Sunday. So how good will he be? Again, I'm sorry, the Titans aren't good. I just refuse to. So the Texans are who I'm picking in this game, and I think they're able.
Let me write this down.
Yeah. I'm sorry. I think they're I feel pretty good about them potentially. Making the playoffs. So I feel like they're still going to play well. They're still going to get it done, but it's going to be one of those tough teams. Titans are just a feisty, tough team that you sort of have to deal with throughout this game. But again, I would also pick a potential low scoring game. It's 38 points. I wouldn't be surprised if it's an under that.
Yeah.
Titans ain't scoring like this. I know Will Levis had all that, look good and all of that, but no, just no, right? Just no for me. It's just a no. So that's what I like, even though you beat the Dolphins, who I think is fraudulent. So let's get to the Dolphins. Dolphins. Jets 5-8. Dolphins 9-4. Dolphins coming off a big loss last week, facing a Jets defense that has done a great job, locked people up, and a newfound Zach Wilson slinging the rock over 300 yards. You thought he was down for dead.
He won AFC Offensive Player of the Week. Zach Wilson and Tommy DeVito are AFC and NFC Offensive Players of. Yes, I swear to God.
Yes.
Like if you showed someone that at the start of the season, they would have thought it was a joke. Like an Onion headline.
What? I didn't even think they played well enough to do that. Did they just give them that because they did it?
I don't know.
Did they really play that well and whatever. Jets, Dolphins. Dolphins favored to 8.5. Well, they were favored by about that much last week when they took the L. Over under 37.5. Barrett, I'll start with you. Could this be another upset?
I think this will be an upset, not because the way the Jets are playing. I like their defense and everything, but I don't know if the Cheetah's playing, man. Is he playing this game? Or is he out?
I don't know.
I don't know if he's out yet. And that's going to be the determining factor because that offense runs through his ability to influence the defense and how they're, how they play the game. But still, we're talking about
he's considered day to day.
We're talking about the
probably
Jets.
Probably a game time decision.
Yeah, it's still the Jets.
That's what they said last week.
But 8.5 is just such a big number, man. For a team that are missing their big play threat. So it's just hard for me to say, all right, I should say, I should take the Dolphins. And if they did have the Cheetah, it would be easy for me to go 8.5. I'm still going to go 8.5. This is still the Jets, bro. This is still the Jets. Still the Jets.
Do you think Zach Wilson figured anything out? Or was just one good game like a lot of backups have had this?
An anomaly.
You think it's an anomaly?
Yes, it's an anomaly.
No credit for Zach? You don't think?
No. Okay. I think he got that get right, because, you got your boy back there, walking around miraculously, he's healed now. Aaron is like, hey, I'll be back soon. So he's like, oh, man, let me get on my game. I got to play now.
Yeah.
More so than anything. He can play at any time now. And if they get close to the playoffs and he gets an opportunity to come back and they make it to playoffs, oh, he's going to ride that horse and be like, yeah, here, the Savior's back. Aaron's back. So, yes, A-Rod is going to make things better for us, and they're going to go into the playoffs and try to do something. So, yes, I think he got that get right. Wilson's like, you know what, I got to play well. Let me go out there and show you I can steal ball. So I think it was like his last hurrah.
Okay. Dev?
But, yes, I'm going with 8.5.
And you're like,
with
even within 8.5. Yeah. All right, Dev, what you think? Again, they beat the Texans 30-6.
Yeah. I think I just don't see a way. Like the Dolphins lost at home for the first time all year in a game that they probably shouldn't have lost. Just like a heartbreaking fashion. If you're a Dolphins fan, I think they're gonna want to come out and have something to prove. Even if they don't have Tyreek Hill, they still have a lot of talent on that offense. And I just don't see the Jets' offense being able to keep up with the Dolphins once again. Like the Dolphins have already beat the Jets. Like it's not like a super new thing for them and their coaching staff. So they're going to know how to beat Zach Wilson and the Jets. And I think they do. I think they cover the 8.5. You seem like you don't agree. Are you team Jets in this one? Yes. I will say this. I think people are too hard on Zach Wilson.
Yes,
he's like, I just feel like people treat him like he's like the worst quarterback to ever play football, and he's not. Like he's not Tom Brady, but like
that's because he got drafted so high. That's the expectation was drafted so high. They expect more from him.
He didn't meet expectations, and I also think like his off the field controversies and stuff are like funny for people to make fun of. But I just feel like he's not like
keep
terrible,
your mom and grandmoms at home.
Yeah.
This may be my upset of the week.
Really?
I'm teetering right now. This may be my upset of the week. I think the Dolphins look terrible without Tyreek Hill, quite frankly. When they don't have their over the top guy, they can't win. It ruins the entire offense. And consistently Mike McDaniels hasn't been able to change his offense or change things so they can win in a methodical way. It's got to be Tyreek over the top. It has to be that threat. And when they didn't have that threat consistently last game, they were bad. When they faced other good teams that took away that threat, they were bad. Right? Like when the Eagles took away that threat, they wasn't sitting there scoring 30 points. They was going to score 13, 14, 17 points. So I feel like, again, their backup, their center is out for the season, I believe, for the Dolphins. So if you're saying to yourself, we're going to sit Tyreek Hill because we need him for the playoffs and he has to sit a game, and that's the situation that we're going into, a Jets defense that is super freaking good. I like the Jets in this game. Again, this is going to be a game time decision for me, so I can't throw it out right now. It's going to be literally a minute before the game. I'm like, I'll take the Jets, but to me, it has the makings of an upset, especially if Zach. Like, what I realized last week was maybe the Jets were a quarterback away. Mm-hmm. Like, before, I thought they had way more problems. Mm-hmm. But maybe they are a quarterback playing well away from being that legit playoff team that we thought.
When A-Rod was there, they weren't away from anything. They were a legitimate threat in the AFC. If he's back, they're a legitimate threat.
Yeah, so if Zach Wilson, again, he's not going to fill those shoes, but if he can play good football, like good game managing, slightly above football, where Garrett Wilson gets over 80 and Bree Hall gets a certain amount, Jets.
Well, you got to look at this, though. I mean, what the Cheetah does, what Tyreek Hill does, it makes you play cover 2, deep cover 2. So if he's not there, then you can maybe play cover 3, bring that safety down into the box, and now Mostert is a non-factor. I'm going to go with Mostert's rushing yardage for sure, because he's been balling. I'm going to go with his rushing yardage for sure. I'm also going for an anytime touchdown with him for sure.
Mm-hmm. Well, because you also have to run on that Jets defense. You
have to. Yeah. You're not going to be passing them. So that's why I'm going to leave all the receiving yardage alone, but I am going to go with Mostert. What's his name? Achan? I like him.
Achan? I never know.
Yeah, so, he's an explosive play away also. So that's the reason why I'm going with the Dolphins, because not necessarily the presence of Tyreek Hill is more so I just don't like Wilson. Mm-hmm. He's just so up and down. You know what I mean?
I'm going Jets. I'm going Jets to cover for sure. Put it that way. I might go Jets money line. Because, again, if your Tyreek is out or just hobbled, like they don't have a number 2 go-to, right? Like we talk about all the great offenses in the league. You take away something else, they got a switch-up game, right? Like they have a switch-up game. We've been yelling at the Eagles, hey, all right, if the deep passing game ain't working, run the freaking ball, dog.
They got Jalen Waddle, though.
That's your great switch-up game. But, again, Jalen Waddle will get off, but they don't have, all right, we're gonna matriculate. It's just going to be boom, 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 work it up the field, use the running game. We're going to play a different style of game if you take our one thing away. Yeah, they don't have that. So if they don't have Tyreek, I'm going to Jets to the very least cover in this game. All right, Chiefs, Patriots. All right, we all know who's going to win. But the Chiefs. Okay. The Chiefs we have to talk about and their problems. First, let's just go over what happened last week real quick. Mm-hmm. All right, the Kadarius Toney being over the line, costing them one of the greatest plays I feel like I've ever seen, regular season games I've ever seen. Like that play alone, I've never seen that. And they said it was improv. It wasn't like called that way.
It's just that alone, the foresight to say, all right, I'm a lateral on a play in which I'm not supposed to.
Yes. It wasn't a call lateral. That's probably something they just talked to as teammates. Like, one day if this happens, I'm going to do this. And it just happened to be that situation. So, incredible play, negated. Patrick Mahomes goes bananas, berserk on the sidelines afterwards. Goes bananas berserk in the press conference. To his credit, a couple days later, he goes, my bad. He apologized. He was like, listen, that was too much. I shouldn't have done that. I'm sorry. And it's funny because you're looking at somebody who's never lost for real before.
No, exactly.
And so you can see it like, I don't know what's going on right now. I'm not used to this. And that's why he doesn't know how to handle possibly being a not good team.
Yeah.
Staring at his face.
I know someone needs to sit him down and say, Patrick, here's what's going on. Your team isn't as good as you're used to them being. Your offense is dysfunctional. There's something wrong with your offense, whether it's scheme or play calling or what. Your receivers are not holding on to the ball. And that's what was funny to me about the whole thing. First of all, I just thought it was extremely disrespectful to Josh Allen and the Bills, but especially Josh Allen after the game, just like going up to shake his hand and just complete, like, what does he want Josh Allen to do in that situation? Like, what, like, Josh Allen's gonna be like, you're right, man, I'm not gonna take this win. Like, you got it. Yeah. So I'm glad someone clearly talked to him and made him like, they're like, hey, like, that's not a good look. Like, you need to say sorry. But also uncharacteristic for Andy Reid to come out and say something about it. Mm-hmm. But yeah, it did lose me money because I had a Kadarius Toney anytime touchdown, which I don't even know why. Like, I don't know what came over to me to be like, I think Kadarius Toney.
Yeah, that is a weird touchdown take.
I think it was one of those, like, right before a game starts, you're like, I'm just gonna do something like super random that I just have a gut feeling about.
You know,
like what made you even think of that?
You know,
sometimes I think I'm psychic.
You know what I think it is, because I think I do this. You tell me if I'm right. Sometimes when it goes from plus 200 and you click on somebody's name and it goes to plus 800.
Yeah.
You're like, whoa.
Yeah.
You're like, that made a lot of difference in money. I might as well try it. Like, it just took it to a plus 300 to 12 to 1.
Yep.
Plus 1200.
Yep.
Let's do it.
And it almost hit. It almost hit.
What do you think of that play call? Not the play call, the call of the referee calling what they called during it.
That's a professional not being a professional. You know where you need to line up. You understand how to play this game. You look down the line, and if you're ahead of the ball, that means you're offside. Now, the ref's waiting so long to throw the flag, I'm thinking to myself, You know what I'm saying? Like, But still, though, he should have did what he's supposed to do. He should have. When you know when you line up. When you line up, am I cool? You know what I'm saying? I used to do it as an offensive tackle. I want to get as much as I can. My head has to get in front of the center. It has to at least be where the center's butt is. So I'd be there. My whole entire body would be in the backfield. But as long as my head is right there where that center is, I'll look at the ref and say, I'm good, right? Yeah, so you're not going to throw the flag, right? So they can see it on film that I'm doing this so I can be cool. When you playing against Derek Thomas and you know how fast he is, you trying to gain every advantage you can get. So I'm like this, and I'm way back. So you know how to play within the parameters of the game. It's his fault. Kadarius Toney's
But see, I kind of signed with the Kansas City Chiefs because here's my beef. Here's my beef. Consistencies from refs. So I think it was Dan Orlowski's show throughout the game. Every time Kadarius Toney lined up, he lined up the exact same way, like almost half a yard ahead, right? And then they showed other games where receivers lined up the same way. So if I'm doing something the entire game and you don't call it, you are telling me it's okay to do, right? Like you're telling me, all right, I can line up this far ahead. This is what the referees would allow. It's the same thing with the Super Bowl with the Kansas City with the issue. If you're allowing that little tug the entire game,
I was just going to say the James Bradbury hold in the Super Bowl, right?
Don't call it
at the end of the game,
the biggest prime moment. Now, I know why they call it, because in the big games and the big plays, the referees get graded. And so if that happens and you allow it during the biggest play of the game, your grade as a referee is going to go down and they're going to have a problem with that. So that's why I think they do that, where you go, well, I can't let it happen in the big moment because my bosses are looking. Mm-hmm. But consistency, you allow me to do it the entire game. Like, this reminds me, and this is off, but follow me. Remember Jameis Winston stole those little crabs?
Yep.
No.
Remember when Jameis Winston was in college, he got in trouble because he took the
crab legs.
The crab legs out?
No.
You don't remember that?
Yeah.
Well, that was a story. He got in trouble because he stole crab legs out of supermarket. And I said to myself, I 100% know. I went to Penn State and I know how it goes. He went to that supermarket every week. Every week, an employee gave him free crab legs. Now you want to say I can't take crab legs? You always allow me free crab legs. I'm only doing what y'all allow me to do. I wouldn't do it if you said I couldn't do it the first time. So that's my beef. Don't allow me to line up that way 15 times during the entire game and then call it now. So that's just my beef. Like, call it the same way the entire game. Let me steal my crab legs. Right? Like, let me line up this way.
Bro, it's funny you say that. We had this store called the Brass Buckle in Kansas State. And guys would go in, big name guys, the starters, some of the, like captains, you know, and we go in there and we buy something and they throw us something for free. Mm-hmm. This walk-on goes in there, tries to do the same thing, and they arrest him for stealing.
Oh, my God.
They arrest him for stealing. And he sung like a bird. You let this man do it. You let this guy do it. He stole everything. Everything. You know what I'm saying? He gave names, numbers, social security numbers, everything about everything and whoever did whatever they did.
So he essentially just snitched on all the
he snitched
starters
on
and
Come on,
everyone.
dog. You got to be better than that. But that's the point. It'd be like, who are you? And sometimes you a new employee? You new here? I'm allowed to take this. You get mad at the employee. Like, what's up? Why you bugging?
Right.
So with that said, we all on Kansas City. Let's move on to the next game because we went way over. Giants Saints.
Good game. This is going to be a good game, bro.
Tommy D. Yeah. Tommy 2 times. Against the Saints, again, the Saints have the ability to win the NFC South. The Giants all of a sudden look great with Tommy DeVito. I think they're 3-4 with Tommy DeVito. Let's go through this quick. Dev, you think Tommy has it again?
I don't. I love this story. His agent was hilarious. I legitimately didn't believe it. I thought that whole thing was fake at first, but it is very much real. But the Saints defense is just too good. I just think that they are going to give Tommy DeVito and that Giants offense a really big test. You look at the Saints defense, they're first in rating allowed, second in completion percentage allowed, third in most interceptions in the league. So I just don't think that a quarterback like Tommy DeVito has the chops to really put up a lot of points against that Saints defense, even if the Saints offense is very inconsistent and hard to figure out. So I like the Saints in this one. Maybe it'll be a closer game, but I'm still going to take Saints -6.
Okay.
Barrett, I'm going Saints -6. And just like you said, because of the defense, the way they rush the pass, you got Cameron Jordan coming off that edge, Granderson coming off that edge, and Demario Davis might be one of the best linebackers in the league, and that's going to be the one-on-one matchup I'm going to see. Davis versus, Saquon Barkley. That's going to be a great Clash of the Titans type of matchup that I want to see. I can't see Tommy DeVito having as great a game against a defense like that. The Honey Badgers are going to be, in his mix. They're going to be disguising things. This is still a rookie quarterback. You know what I mean? And they're going to make him look like he's a rookie.
I do like props. I like Saquon Barkley over rushing props, maybe even anytime touchdown, because the Saints defense does allow a lot of rush yards, both to mobile quarterbacks and running backs. But is Tommy DeVito a mobile quarterback? I don't know if we can really count that. No. But because of that, Saquon Barkley yards, and then Alvin Kamara over rush yards. He did mess up a prop for me, or a parlay, because I took Kamara's over receiving yards last week, and he had -11 on the day. So not only did it not hit, it went in the opposite direction of hitting.
Yeah, nice little. I'm gonna go with receiving yardage. Wan'Dale Robinson, I'm gonna go with over receiving yards with him, and Jalen Hyatt, I'm gonna go with over receiving yards with him. Both of those guys have stepped up these last couple games.
Do we know if Taysom Hill is expected to be back this week? I know he missed last week with the Saints.
No, I'm not sure.
I gotta
well, if he plays, I like his rush yards.
I got the Giants in this game. Sorry. Tommy 2 times, and I got
you're
Saquon.
You're all in on Tommy.
I'm in on the Giants, and I'm in on their coaching ability. So I think, I think they have the best player between the two teams in Saquon Barkley. Yes. He goes for over 75 at any time touchdown, and the Giants win in a close one. We got to fly through this one. Falcons, Panthers. I think we know who's going to win, but what props do you like in that game? Barrett, we'll start with you. Falcons favored in this game by 3.
Nothing. I don't like anything in that game. When you look at it, it's one of those games where you just nod your head, because the Falcons at this point, they're playing at a level in which I like. I like the fact that they can win just by out of default, win their division. I don't trust Bijan yet. But against that defense, I'm finally going to give him his rushing yardage. I'll go with him. Tyler Algier, I can't go with him this time, because I really think that Bijan's going to take it. I like Kyle Pitts. Love my tight ends over in his receiving yardage. And Drake London, receiving yardage.
Okay. What you got?
I'm just gonna agree with Barrett on that one. I like the Falcons. No, I like the Falcons winning and covering 3-point spread. I'm so hesitant because I feel like the Falcons props have messed up parlays for me for the last countless weeks, honestly. Just because it's so 1 week Bijan, hits over his total, and then the next week he barely does anything. And same with Tyler Algier, same with Desmond Ridder putting the wheels on. So I just don't trust what strategy they're going to take, and it almost makes it worse when they're playing a bad team, just because, like, you don't know what strategy really they're going to take against the Carolina Panthers. Right. So I think I'm going to stay away from this one, but I do like the Falcons winning.
Y'all are overcomplicating this. They're playing the Carolina Panthers. Desmond Ridder for over 250 and 2 touchdowns.
Why is he going to throw it if they're playing the Panthers?
Everyone. He had 347 last week against the Bucks. They're going to click on all cylinders.
Okay.
They're going to look good. Bijan Robinson, book it. Touchdown, over 75 yards rushing, and Drake London to go for over 75 also. So I think they're going to have a good day against the Carolina Panthers. It's going to be a get-right freaking beat down. All right, listen, we got another segment, a couple segments to go, but we have the Commanders-Rams. Rams, frisky. Lost last week, but frisky. Okay, they can win the 49ers-Cardinals. All right. Listen, it's a Sunday spread. We got everything for you. Devan Kaney, Sean Bell, Barrett Brooks. We're mowing along. Let's get to the next game. Commanders-Rams. Commanders 4-9. They quit. Season's over. Rams, frisky. Lost to the Baltimore Ravens last week, 37-31 in overtime. Spectacular game. It was probably the game of the week, the most entertaining game of the week. And the Rams looking like they got a chance, all right? Looking like they got a chance not only to make the playoffs, but maybe upset someone with the way they've been playing as of recent weeks. And, guys, I'm back on the Cooper Kupp bandwagon. As soon as I jump off, because he's been inconsistent and losing me money, 8 catches, 115, and a touchdown. And I'm kicking myself in the head for not picking him up once again. And even Puka Nacua had 84 yards last week, so I guess I'm back.
Yeah.
Again, Cooper has lost me a lot of money in parlays this season.
Well,
but I feel like he might be back.
Now is definitely the week for him and every single Rams receiver to be back because they're playing the worst pass defense in the league. So I think I would just hit the overs on all of the receivers, Matthew Stafford's over passing yards, all of it.
Tight ends, Tyler Higbee. I gotta go my tight end, Tyler Higbee. He's going to, be amazing with just 25.5. That's a safe bet. But I'm also going with Washington's tight end. I'm going 32.5 with Logan Thomas. So I'm going to go with that. But I still, though, 73.5, Cooper Kupp. Yeah, I'm going with it also. he's going to torch him.
It's making me nervous, quite frankly, but I'm going with it.
Do you guys ever worry, though, when it's a team like the Commanders that have lost several games straight? Like, Sean, you mentioned it when you introed this game. They've given up. Their season is over. That maybe they will rally. Maybe they'll look at the Giants. We thought their season was over way earlier in the season. Now they've got this new life in Tommy DeVito as their quarterback. So there is that possibility with this Commanders team that does have talented players. They just can't seem to get it together. I don't know.
You might have something there because they just fired the defensive coordinator.
Right. Like they have, it seems like they've had players come out and be, vocally frustrated with how they're performing. Sometimes I just worry that when a team is due for a bounce back win, it could be an upset.
And then I'm looking at, Eric Bieniemy being the offensive coordinator, possibly the head coach. And them going out and winning one for the Gipper, winning one for them on the offensive side of the ball. And Terry McLaurin, 58.5, going with the over with him.
Yeah, I like
Curtis
that.
Samuel, 40.5. Simply because they want to show, all right, this is our guy. We're going to rally behind.
Right.
Bieniemy, make him the coach.
Nah, not enough. Not enough for me. Nah. Because the Giants situation is Brian Dable's going to be there for a long time. He's a good coach. Everybody's gone from the Commanders. Now, Eric Bieniemy might have a shot at the head coaching gig. I don't know if they're going to give him a shot. But most of the coaching staff is fired.
Yeah.
They're done. Right? So that's why I don't feel like there's a rally, because it's not like they're saying we want to get this guy a job, or we're still going to be here next season, so we got to do this, we got to do that. Like, even with the Raiders, when they had their little stretch, they all loved Antonio Pierce. So it was like, we want Antonio to get the job, so we're going to play well for Antonio. I just don't see that in Washington in the last few games. You know what I mean? They've been trying to rally for the last few games, but it's sort of a, you know what I mean? It's sort of a dead situation. A lot of guys are going to get fired. A lot of guys are going to be gone.
Well, Sam Howell can hose it a little bit, but I just don't know if he can keep up the pace with Cooper Kupp and Puka Nacua, those guys. they're playing for something. They're playing for something.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, if the Commanders decide to fire Eric Bieniemy, he could come on over to the Eagles. I'll gladly take it.
Gladly take that.
We got a job for you here.
You won't get some creativity there.
Yeah, no,
B.
he's
Johnson
not going to be fired.
B. Johnson, come on now.
He's just going to be promoted.
Yeah, exactly. He should be promoted. But Rams, again, we all got the Rams. I think they covered the 6.5. I think that's fine. Again, I'm going Cooper Kupp. Reluctantly, I'm going Cooper Kupp to go over 73.5 in this game.
You better not be the kiss of death, bro, because I'm going with.
Usually I am, but it is what it is.
I do feel like you've made me scared to ever bet Cooper Kupp props now. Because I feel like every week it's like Cooper Kupp is the guy that messes up your parlays. So now I just honestly think I'd stay away from it.
Dev?
I like Puka's and everyone else on the Rams offense, but not Cooper Kupp's.
That's all I got to say, Dev. I don't know what to tell you. He has been
very inconsistent.
Inconsistent, all right? Yeah. So, and that Rams offense has been inconsistent also.
Yeah,
but again, it feels like over the last few games they got in their footsteps. Matthew Stafford's been healthy. Cooper's been healthy. Puka's been healthy. Everybody's been in the last few games and striking. So, and they're games away from a potential playoff spot. So I like the Rams to play well and
that 7 playoff spot is still there, man. Green Bay's now occupying it 6 and 7.
Yeah,
and they got the same record of 6 and 7.
Yeah, everybody's 6 and 7 that spot, and even 7 and 6 before that. So it's not
Minnesota,
like the 6th spot is that far away for those teams. Next spot, 49ers taking on the Cardinals in Arizona. Big spread, 12.5. The over-under is 48 in this game. 49ers, we know are going to dominate, but would y'all pick the 12.5?
Yes. Even though the Cardinals are coming off a bye. Mm-hmm. Even though they're coming off a bye, I just think that 49ers team is just too dominant. The Cardinals, even as the division game, I was trying to talk myself into it. I cannot come here and be on this 49er bandwagon. I can't say anything nice about them.
It's about making money right now.
That's what I'm saying. But that's what I thought about. So you know what? I can't worry about the hatred. I got to go with, analytics and what the 49ers are able to do. I mean, this 12.5 might not. They'll be up by 12.5 like halfway through the third quarter. And then they're just going to pile it on after that. They may beat them by 20.
Yeah, just like I told y'all last week, it was 10.5. Which is crazy because by the time the game started, when we talked about 10.5, it went to 14. Which I'm glad I didn't take. I took the 10.5 and they got to 12, so I skated through to get there. But the 49ers have been consistently covering their spread so far this season in their wins. Devin, what you think?
So I think the Niners will win. It is a very big spread, but they have been just absolutely, rolling over lesser teams all season. I will make the case, though, for if someone wanted to have a spicy take on this game and say, this is a good spot for the Cardinals to upset. I'm not saying Cardinals money line, but just cover that large 12.5 point spread. They're coming off the bye. They're well rested. They had Kyler Murray back. They beat the Dallas Cowboys earlier in the season, which is another team that seems to be rolling over teams left and right this time of the year. And, Jonathan Gannon, I know he's not the most beloved figurehead here in Philadelphia, but he led the defense that really shut down that 49ers offense in the NFC Championship game last season when he was defensive coordinator for the Eagles. He knows how to figure out this Niners offense. Could get the best of them. I don't think that's going to happen, though, so I do like the Niners winning this one.
And the props are kind of high, too, man. Like, Christian McCaffrey, 86.5. I don't know if I'd touch that. I don't know.
Because I think it's going to be a blowout. Anytime I think it's going to be a blowout, it's third, fourth quarter, Christian's going to eat.
Well, Christian, he going to eat. He going to go to the sidelines.
That's true. How early does he go to the sidelines would be the question. But again, I think the 49ers, 12.5, it's easy money. Gannon doesn't have Fletcher Cox and
that's
you know what I mean? And Hassan Reddick, you know what I mean? So Brock Purdy ain't going to be touched. So it's going to be a blowout game for me again. The 49ers are in that 1 seed right now. So that's why some people say, is this a trap game? Because they play the Baltimore Ravens next week. It's the end of the season, and they're holding on to the 1 seed by a thread. So there are no trap games in their mind for the San Francisco 49ers. For the Eagles to take it back, it has to be that next game against the Baltimore Ravens and them lose against the Baltimore Ravens for that to sort of bounce back and occur. So that's the situation that I think is with the San Francisco 49ers. Again, I go Christian McCaffrey over. Brandon Ayuk has been an absolute beast. And Deebo Samuels has been crazy. Mm-hmm. Deebo Samuels for over 100 combined running and passing, I think is an easy bet for this one too. They've been feeding him the rock, and he's been doing whatever he wants at any point. Again, one of those players who, when the ball's in his hand, he's arguably the best player in the league when the ball is actually in his hands. Right? Like, you can make that argument in order for people to have to tackle him, his shiftiness, et cetera, et cetera. So Deebo's been balling out over the last couple weeks. Cowboys Bills. This is going to be a great game. Again, this is another game of the week potential. Cowboys 10-3. Bills are 7-6, but not playing like they're 7-6. They've been giving everybody fits, win or lose. Coming off of beating the Kansas City Chiefs, lost to the Philadelphia Eagles, but played a great game in losing to the Philadelphia Eagles. The Bills are in playoff mode. Mm-hmm. They got to win every game to potentially get in. They have to win every game to potentially get in. They can't lose any. They got to keep rolling. The Bills are favored in this game, actually.
Which is crazy to me.
It's in Buffalo. They're favored by 2. Over-under is 50.5, so you can expect a lot of scoring in this game. Dev, I'll start with you. What you think?
I like the Bills winning this one. I like the Bills -2. I think
is that the Eagle love, or is that just flat-out Bills love?
No, honestly, it's not. As much as I would like the Cowboys played a great game. They crushed the Eagles last week. That's, a fact. But the Cowboys they've been on a hot streak, and they played a lot of tough games. And I think that winning streak has to come crashing down at some point. The Bills are on the other side of things, on a roll. They're on a high, coming off beating the Kansas City Chiefs in a really tight game. I think they have playoffs in mind. They're playing at home. We know that Buffalo crowd is crazy. I don't know what the weather is going to be, if that will be a factor, because we know in Buffalo that can be
49 and
no snow or anything.
49 and raining.
Okay, not bad. I just think the Bills know what's at stake. They know that they have to win out the rest of the way. And I like the way that these teams match up. I like that, Josh Allen can put up numbers on the ground. I think he will. So I like Josh Allen rushing props. James Cook does it all. He had 83 yards through the air and then over rushing as well last week. Dallas, even though they crushed the Eagles, they gave up 6 yards per carry to Jalen Hurts last week. So Josh Allen on the ground can be dangerous. I like the Bills in this spot.
Yeah, I'm going with the Bills also with the points. But in saying that, I like 2 of the most explosive receivers in the league with CeeDee Lamb and Stephon Diggs. Lamb, 87.5. I'll go with that. And then Stephon Diggs, 69.5. He'll have that by halftime.
He's been struggling a little bit lately, though.
He's been struggling because
Allen, but he hasn't gotten the rock.
Right. Allen has to get it to him. And I think this is where they have to win, so they're going to go with him. Another, guy that sneakily getting, receiving yardage is Gabriel Davis, 35.5. He's their big play guy, so I'm going to go with his 35.5. Tony Pollard, 52.5. He's going to run all over that defense, but it's going to be one of those stats where he might have a lot of yards, but he won't make the end zone. And I just can't go with Dallas, but I think the Bills, they're hot right now. They're really hot right now.
I like the Dallas Cowboys have been putting up so many points on offense, but the Bills defense is in the top of the league in points allowed.
Right.
But yeah, Stephon Diggs has been held under 35 yards in 3 of his last 5 games.
And he's going nuts right now. He is in Josh Allen's ear right now. He's taped himself over and over again and gave it to Josh Allen and put it in his headphones. Throw to me.
Yeah. He probably low key is like
he's going nuts right now.
I may want to get traded at this point. The way Stephon is dealing with the Bills again. There's 6 teams, tied for 7-6 in the AFC for 2 spots. Right, so you got the Bills, and the Bills apparently don't have any of the tiebreakers. So it's the Bills, and the Bengals, and the Broncos, Texans, Colts, Steelers.
Trash.
The Bills win this game. I feel like I might take them to go to the Super Bowl.
Really?
I think the Bills are that talented. The way they played over the last 3 weeks. Again, they're 2-1 over the last 3 weeks. Their one loss coming to obviously a very good Philadelphia Eagle team in a really close game but Josh Allen has balled out. He hasn't had all the turnovers. The Bills' defense is really good.
Yeah, they are.
The Bills, talent-wise, and when they're playing at their best, in my opinion, is better than anybody else's best in the AFC right now. Right? It's just that they're inconsistent. And if they play the way they played over the last 3 weeks and continue that for the rest of the season, I think they can go to the Super Bowl. I think they'll beat the Kansas City Chiefs. I think they'll beat the Baltimore Ravens. Josh Allen, again, is a top 3 quarterback in the league when he's playing at the level that he needs to play at. It's just like Pat Mahomes, and then it's like, okay, you got Allen, Hurts, and Burrow. Like, it's that. Like, I always put Pat number 1, but Josh Allen would be back in that conversation for 2 or 3 in the league. So I like the Buffalo Bills in this game. Again, I know the Dallas Cowboys beat the Philadelphia Eagles. I think a lot of that is on the Philadelphia Eagles.
Yep.
I think the Cowboys still have things to prove to me. I think the Buffalo Bills, again, defensively have been playing really well. I like Josh Allen anytime tutty. He's been running the ball in. I like Stephon Diggs, again, to get over 50 in an alternative and to have a little bit of a better game. I like James Cook to go over 50 yards in this game. I think this is going to be a high-scoring game that goes over 50.5.
Yep.
Right? It could be a third, 34 to 28 type of game. But I like the Buffalo Bills. I like what they're doing. They are on a roll, and it is at Buffalo.
What about either Josh Allen to throw an interception or a Cowboys defensive touchdown? Because even though I think the Bills are going to win, we know how Deron Bland in that Cowboys defense has been picking quarterbacks off, and Josh Allen loves to throw to the other team.
Josh Allen will give you a gimme, won't he?
Yeah.
He'll throw it up for you.
But at this point, I don't even know what the odds are on a Josh Allen. Like, it's probably not great for him to throw an interception. It's like minus...
Yeah.
200.
Yeah, he consistently, again, leads the league and consistently does that. So, I mean, Josh Allen, that would be a smart bet to have. But, again, the Buffalo Bills, they got the Cowboys, Chargers, Patriots, Dolphins. To me, the Cowboys is probably the toughest game on their schedule for the rest of the season. I've long called Dolphins kind of bit of a fraud. They'll beat the Patriots. They'll beat the Chargers. They can win out and win these 4 games and be, I don't know if y'all are with me, dangerous in the AFC in the playoffs.
Yeah, absolutely. They're getting better at the same time. That's why I was kind of hesitant, even with the Eagles and their odds going into this point right here and being too good. Like right now, I think the 49ers are kind of too good right now going into the playoffs. Peaking too early. We haven't peaked yet. The Eagles haven't peaked yet, so
just what delusional Eagles fans tell ourselves.
Yes. Just put it out there.
Those beer goggles. Okay. Cardi B moving down the street. Beer goggles. Next game, Ravens-Jaguars. Ravens, like we said, a thriller against the Rams. Was able to get it done. Lamar Jackson, he should be higher up on the MVP conversation than people are putting him in my opinion. It's sort of him all the way back, and it's Dak and Brock, and where's Lamar at? Lamar should be up there with the 10-3
I
Ravens.
agree. And I would vote for Lamar over both Dak and Brock, honestly. Just because he can do more, and he does, like, in terms of multi-threat quarterback.
Yeah. Again, carrying his offense as opposed to Dak and Brock ain't carrying. They're playing great, but they ain't carrying.
Yeah.
Lamar carries that offense. So, and they face the Jaguars, who have had a tough time against the AFC North. They're 2 losses in a row, both to AFC North teams. And that Bengals game is probably because Trevor Lawrence went out. And the Browns game is just because that Browns defense was balling out. Mm-hmm. And then Joe Flacco is thinks he's in his prime again.
Trevor
Lawrence? I like Trevor. I like Trevor.
I don't think he's 100%.
He can't be.
Yeah, no.
He had a high ankle sprain.
I didn't think he was going to play,
Me
honestly.
neither. Yeah,
I don't think anyone did.
Usually get a high ankle sprain, it takes you at least a month to heal.
Yeah.
But he didn't play well, but the ankle, because he's not mobile like that, didn't kill him too much. He had 3 interceptions was the problem last week, just turning the ball over once again against a great Cleveland Browns defense. Ravens-Jaguars, Baltimore favored in this game despite it being on the road by 3. Over-under is 42.5. Dev, we'll start with you. What do you like in this one?
I like the Jags. And I like the Jags. I'm losing my mind today. Please don't pay attention to that. I like the Ravens. I think because I was reading the Jags as I said it. I like the Ravens. I like the Ravens covering the spread. I think, like we just mentioned, Trevor Lawrence is not 100%. And I know that the Jags are on a 2-game skid, but the Ravens are on a roll. Just had a really impressive overtime win over the Rams in a really good game. Lamar Jackson and that Ravens offense are just clicking on all cylinders. I think if the Jags have one thing working in their favor, it's that their rush defense is actually playing pretty well. They're holding running backs to 3.7 a run, so under 4 yards per carry. But they just gave up 311 yards to Joe Flacco through the air. Trevor Lawrence doesn't look fully healthy. Baltimore's defense is going to eat the Jags offense alive. So I like the Ravens.
Okay.
And this is one of the few games where I'm not going with either tight end. Isaiah Likely.
I likely props. I didn't like them last week, and then I saw him hit it, and I didn't bet it last Sunday. So now I'm like, I might need to do that, and then it probably won't hit.
Yep, and then, Evan Ingram going against those linebackers. And it's only because the personnel they'll be lined up against. Both teams got really good linebackers, so, they'll kind of, nix those guys out. I also know that starting left tackle for Jacksonville is hobbled. I think he's out right now. So going against that defense, I'm not going with any props, not even Calvin Ridley or Zay Jones with this Jaguar team. But I will say this, Baltimore is playing so well right now that, it'd be hard for me not to go with any of the props that come along with them. Passing, even receiving. Even Odell Beckham, 38.5. I'm going with that.
He had almost 100 yards last week.
Right. And everything was just like underneath, running, crossing routes underneath. He catching it and catching it in stride. Zay Flowers, 55.5. I'm going with that also. As far as rushing yards, I'm going to go with my boy Travis. I'm going to the well again. Travis Etienne, 55.5. I'm going to the well.
Okay.
Yeah. I'm going to the well. And Gus Edwards, 31.5. I think he'll be all right also. So that's my say. I can't be comfortable with much what Jaguars are doing right now. When your quarterback's not well, you tend not to be well.
Yeah, again, it depends on how well he is. This is a tough one because the Ravens are going through their, in Philadelphia, we talk all the time about the gauntlet because they've had one of the toughest stretches you can possibly have. Mm-hmm. And so now I compare what other people's gauntlets are. You know what I mean? And this is the Baltimore Ravens sort of starting their mini gauntlet because, again, they just played the Rams. And I know they're not a dynamite team, but took them to overtime. Then they got the Jaguars. Then they got the Niners. Then they got the Dolphins. Then they got the Steelers. I know the Steelers haven't been playing well, but still the Steelers over 500 looking for a playoff spot. So they're facing playoff teams from here on out. And I'm interested to see where they last because their schedule, if you look at their schedule in the beginning of the year, it wasn't tough.
Mm-hmm.
It just wasn't, right? It's a whole lot of teams, middle of the line teams, the Titans, the Cardinals, the Seahawks. We see where they are. The Bengals without Joe Burrow. It was just like a whatever schedule. You're beating competitive teams, but you're not beating a lot of teams that are real. And now they're facing some teams that are real, and the Jaguars, I feel like, are real. This game can go back and forth either way to me. Right? To me, this is a must-have for the Baltimore Ravens facing the San Francisco 49ers next week. Right? You have the potential to beat the 49ers, but you can't lose both of these games. This is going to be a tough situation. You are in the number one seed, so I think I am going to pick No, I'm picking the Jaguars.
Really?
What? I just talked myself into the Jaguars. I'm picking the Jaguars.
Wow.
I've consistently done this all year long. Like, I don't feel like really good teams that are going to make the playoffs go on long losing streaks. Right? Like, the 49ers losing 3 in a row is rare. Like, the Eagles ain't losing 3 in a row.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? I'm not going to pick a Kansas City Chiefs. I know they've lost going back and forth. But in a row, I normally go against good teams losing 2, 3 in a row.
Right.
I can't see the Jaguars losing 3 in a row. I think they're too good to lose 3 in a row. They're at home. I'm picking it on a feeling. Uh-huh. I'm going to tell y'all right now who are listening. I'm picking on a feeling, not actual facts. I think the Jaguars win this game. I think the Ravens are playing the best team on their schedule so far all this year.
Really?
Yeah.
Well, I mean, look at
who have they
They played the Browns, who they lost to, who just beat the Jags. Backup quarterback.
They played the Browns with a backup quarterback. They played the Bengals with a backup quarterback. They beat the Lions, and we're seeing that the Lions are fraudulent. They beat the Texans in C.J. Stroud's first game of the season.
Well, you look at Vegas.
To me, Jaguars is better than every team that we just named because all these teams' quarterbacks are their second string, third string quarterbacks, and et cetera, et cetera.
Vegas is saying the same thing, though. Vegas is saying the same thing. That's why the line's only 3.
Were you the one who had the Jags going to the Super Bowl at the start of the
I said AFC Championship game.
Okay.
I said, not the Super Bowl.
So you're
AFC
just like playing into your agenda.
No. See, I forgot about that. But, and again, if Trevor Lawrence didn't get hurt in that one game, they would still be on track for the 1 seed. But I just don't think a team like that's going to lose 3 games in a row. Like, I just don't. I can't see it. Right? Like, to me, they're not that broken. You would have to be really broken with a bunch of injuries for me to say it makes sense for you to lose 3 in a row. I don't think the Jaguars are broken, especially if Trevor Lawrence plays again. And again, he had 50 dropbacks last week. So I think he's healthy enough and well enough to get it done.
You saying the Ravens might look past the Jaguars, be looking at the 49ers just to prove something?
I don't think they look past. I'm not as much of a believer in the Ravens as everybody else. Maybe that's it. I think the Ravens can be had. I think the Ravens are going to go on their 2-game losing streak right now.
Okay.
So we'll see. Next game, speaking of you can't lose 3 in a row. Eagles, Seahawks. Eagles at 10-3. Seahawks at 6-7. Geno Smith, game time, a decision. Available. We don't know what he is. It's assumption that he's going to play. Eagles coming off 2 tough losses. And I don't mean just losses, being embarrassed in a way they shouldn't have been embarrassed. Dev, I'll start with you.
Mm-hmm.
Bumps in the road for the Philadelphia Eagles or serious issues here in December?
I think a mix of both. I think it's, two losses, but really bad losses, and probably two of their most important opponents. But there are a lot of factors that you have to consider. The Eagles have gone through the gauntlet that you mentioned. The Eagles' defense leaves a lot to be desired. The Eagles' offense is where I feel that this game is a get-right spot. In order for the Eagles to win, and that's, in my opinion, why all of their games have been, close throughout the entire season, is because the Eagles' defense is letting up so many points that the offense has to score enough to win. Mm-hmm. So they're closer games and their schedule's also just like infinitely harder than it was last season. But this is a get-right spot, especially for the Eagles' offense, for Jalen Hurts, for Brian Johnson on play calling. I know that the Eagles' track record playing against Seattle in Seattle is not great. They haven't
17 years or something like that.
They haven't won there
in Seattle.
Quite some time. But I just think after not only losing, but getting embarrassed by both the 49ers at home and then the Cowboys last week, this is a get-right spot for the Eagles. And I think it's the first game that they win. And they win by, not 1 point. Like they win by at least a score.
Okay. Barrett?
This is a get-right game for the Eagles. It's in so much, it'll be hard for me to say, all right, this game is going to be one of those games where the Eagles totally go out and dominate. Since we having so many problems, and I always say we, like I'm still playing. I'm not playing, but I'm still an Eagle at heart.
No, it's so funny because every former Eagle that I've worked with, it says we, and I love it because I say we, and I'm like, I didn't. You played like you were an Eagle.
Yeah, so me, but defensively, I think this Seattle team won't be able to hold up to AJ Brown, Devontae Smith. So I'm going with the props 80.5 for AJ Brown. Devontae Smith, 60.5, I'm going with that. And Dallas Goedert, I'm going 41.5, all receiving yardage. But then also, rushing yardage, I can't go with the Jalen Hurts 34.5 because we just don't do enough to do it. DeAndre Swift, 57.5, we don't do enough running the block for that either. But in Seattle, when you look at their receiving core, Tyler Lockett, DK Metcalf, Jackson Smith Njigba, where'd this kid come from? I know he's a first-round draft choice back from Ohio State back in the day, and he just got healthy. But, man, he couldn't just wait until he got healthy until after he played the Eagles. I mean, that's 3 guys. That's 3 threats we got to go against. And they're good, man. And even their tight end, Noah Fant, they're good. Offensively, they can score on anybody in the league. I think the Eagles will do well on offense against them. Defensively, it's going to be a tough one. So I would go with the over with this game. but I still got to go with the Birds winning. With even with -4.
I think this is a heartbeat game for y'all again.
Yeah.
On your feet, like, come on, why again? Why again? Why are we doing this again? Why is this game so tight?
Man.
And I just talked about not picking good teams to go on losing streaks, and that's the reason why I'm going to pick the Eagles to win this game. Now,
are you saying you think the Eagles are good?
I've always said the Eagles are good. They have a lot of like. I part of me factually wants to pick Seattle, but again, I don't think the Eagles. They're too good of a team to lose 3 in a row. But the Eagles now. Well, I talked about it last week. They lost the turnover battle 6 out of 9 times.
Yeah,
that's bad. Yeah. They've been outgained 6 games in a row by at least 70 yards.
They've had a fumble. They've had a fumble in the last 7 games. They just got 5 of them back, but 7 games they had a fumble. 7 games and third down efficiency last in the entire league. 32.
It's like it's a problem, and this team is winning because they're so freaking talented, but they're not coached well right now.
Mm-hmm.
Right? They're not coached well in every level, from head coach to offensive coordinator to defensive coordinator. Some of these fumbles and all these things go on the head coach and being sloppy. Right, the defensive coordinator, offensive coordinator, not switching things up properly and not using their weapons properly. Like they have issues, but because they're so freaking talented, and Jalen Hurts can consistently bail you out, they're playing well and getting wins and getting close wins. Meanwhile, you're going to face a Seattle team that can have wide receivers have big days.
Yep.
Right, DK Metcalf got in a fight last week. He's pissed off, got kicked out the game. He's going to be playing with his head on fire. So, all that said, I'm not necessarily going to pick who wins in this game, but I'm going to pick the total to be over 47.5. Scoring is going to be done in this game. I'm going to pick DK Metcalf to have 75 plus and Tyler Lockett to have 50 plus. I'm going to pick Devontae Adams to go over for 60.5. I think you know what I mean. Like I think this is a scoring game, high scoring.
Say Devontae Adams.
I probably did.
Yeah.
Devontae Smith. Sorry. Wouldn't that be nice?
Yeah, that would be nice.
Throw him in the mix too. He wants to get out of what is it? Vegas.
No, you know what? It would be nice, but the Eagles don't even need him because you're right. They do have the talent. It's just the play calling and the game planning and game management it's coaching. It's coaching, especially for offense, and it's Jalen Hurts, which might go back to coaching as well, where it just doesn't seem like in the past, he had fumbled the ball. You talk about turning the ball over, made mistakes. Like in the 49ers game, he tripped over his own feet, and it wasn't a worry. It was like, he'll bounce back. He'll be fine. He'll go get a touchdown the next drive. And the past 2 games especially, but really throughout the majority of the season, it seems like he fumbles the ball, and then it just kind of affects him and the rest of the offense for the rest of the game. So they cannot do that in this Monday night game in Seattle.
I think a lot of people feel like they're going to get it together because of what they saw last year. But if we're just going on the facts of this year, maybe this is who they are, and that's a problem. And defensively is my biggest issue because it's
what do you
Jalen
do?
has to score 30 every game.
Yeah.
Like the defense is bad. Like all right, Bradbury, all right, Darius Slay, who's played decently. But then your safeties and your linebackers can't cover a damn thing. Mm-hmm. So now we're just going to put our best wide receiver in the slot.
Yep.
And then have that wide receiver go crazy.
Week. Best receiver in the slot, and they get absolutely torched.
Tyler Lockett. I'm going to bump that up a little bit.
There's no solution.
Over 75. Who's going to guard Tyler Lockett or Smith?
Blankenship.
Right? Who's going to get that? It's, again, 37-34. Barn burner type of game, not something you like to see.